Well, I'm not going to talk about Google. Instead, I'm going to try to talk a little bit about the theme for this conference, which is our common humanity and the centrality of the United Nations. And when we talk about our common humanity, it's really a long way of saying we're all in this together. It isn't just that we share 99.7% of the same genetic material. It's that we literally are all in this together. And I'd like to use as a metaphor for that some stories from the world of communicable diseases. And in the next slide, if we could, and perhaps in the next slide, this is my favorite slide in public health. Now, it's not my favorite slide because I enjoy seeing kings and queens and emperors die. It is not my favorite slide because I like to see people killed from smallpox, but it is my favorite slide because it tells you that when there is a communicable disease for which there is no vaccine that works and there is no antivirals that are effective, we are all in this together. No amount of wealth can protect you from a pandemic that sweeps the world for which there is no cure. You can't put up a sign in front of your house that says armed response. Live in a gated community. We're all in this together. If you look at that list, every race, every religion, every continent, every civilization, the kings and queens died from smallpox because we're all in this together. Let me give you another example, if this works. One more example, and then I'll go very quickly if it works. One more example. Next slide. Would you please start the pandemic? So I'm going to simulate a pandemic that looks a little bit like H5N1. Please continue the pandemic as quickly as you can. That's the one, yes. H5N1 or bird flu or SARS all begin in the same way. And I want you to watch very carefully how the pandemic spreads. And then I'm going to ask you a question, all by way of showing you both how bad epidemic diseases are, but also, let's stop it there for a second. Now, could you tell in that picture who was white, who was black, who was Jewish, who was Muslim or Christian or Buddhist or Hindu? You couldn't. Because communicable diseases show us that they are not a respecter of racial divisions. They are not a respecter of nation states. They are not a respecter of the things that we consider to make us different. We learn from the metaphor of communicable diseases that we're all in this together. And we also learn why the UN is so important. Because it was the United Nations, through its specialized agency, the World Health Organization, which eradicated smallpox. There's no nation state that could have done that. There's no NGO, no 501c3. Only the United Nations could have eradicated smallpox, just as only the United Nations can successfully eradicate polio. So my very brief speech to you is the following. Number one, we really are all in this together. Number two, the UN really is genuinely central to the great accomplishments that we are going to have to face in the future. And number three, you can use communicable diseases as a metaphor for that. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Larry, could you explain what you're doing in polio? So, I spent much of last year working for WHO in India in the polio eradication program, working for David Heyman, and then when I came back and I got this new day job at Google, I tried to persuade people that public health is really at a crossroads. When we eradicated smallpox, for the next 10 years, the best and the brightest didn't go into law, they didn't go into business, they went into global public health because there was this great mountain you could climb by eradicating a disease. We're now at a crossroads. There's only 2,000 cases of polio this year in the world. That's down from tens of millions. Those of you who were old enough remember when no mother would send their children to a public swimming pool in August for fear of polio. There are still today 30 Americans living in iron lungs who have lived in iron lungs for 50 years. If we fail to eradicate polio today, that world will return to the entire globe. We can't let it fail. So what Google is doing is supporting the UN Foundation. We're working with Amir. We're making some television movies about how bad polio was, how good it will feel when we've eradicated it. And we're trying to help the people on the ground in India and in Nigeria with management support, technology support. So we really believe this is an important battlefield for the history of public health, and I think also for the success of the United Nations.
Thank you.